Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the channel and another video. Let's play the intro and get right into it because I've got two people eager to chat. Let's go. Yes, good evening, everybody, and welcome back to the channel and another video. And joining us all this evening is Michael from Arsenal Above All, and as well as the Purely Arsenal. Michael, how you doing, my friend?
Very good. How you doing, James? Good to see you, Neil. Always a pleasure to come on, and a good turn of events. Good result midweek to talk about, and another one to look forward to tomorrow, hopefully. But no, thanks for having me on, man.
Yes, no, and as always, as well, I've got Neil with us. Neil, as Michael affectionately calls you, the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive. And I can see it looks as though you've changed locations to the kitchen. So I'm hoping you're not too dangerous whilst recording from the kitchen. You know, I'm hoping there's no, gas or flames
it's
around
gas.
you.
I normally have electric, but with Mum it's gas.
Well, yeah. I hope that you're not spitting fire, as the children say these days when we're talking about the game and causing industrial.
The less said the better. The less said the better, James.
Yes. Well, obviously I've been away again, as per, not doing my shows when I should be doing them. Naughty me. I'm behind 3 games, so we'll quickly run through the 2 previous to the most recent one. And I know you guys have probably rinsed and repeated conversations that people potentially have heard elsewhere, or if you can't remember it, don't worry. Don't worry, it's only going to be very, very brief. But obviously the big one, the big win, it was amped up before the game. I heard before the game, Arsenal, Man United. I heard from the few Man United fans that still do talk to me. All of them, have gone away for a few years. All of a sudden, they've got a new manager. And this new manager was coming into town. He already knows how to beat your manager. He's won more trophies than your manager. He's better than your manager. We beat them 2-0. Then all of a sudden, no, you were Stoke. You only scored from set pieces. You were rubbish the whole entire game. More touches in the box than you. But our manager's only been there 4 games. Our manager had no experience. Had been at Arsenal 3 games and beat Man United 2-0 with a worse team than what you've got. I haven't got the team in front of me, but I know for sure the team that played Man United that day when Mikel Arteta was in charge of his 3rd or so game was much worse than that Man United side. Even though that Man United side is terrible, there is much worse players. Socrates scored against them on that day. So that's how bad the players that we had back then were. So, yeah, that's one thing I want to clear up. And also 5 years experience as a manager compared to a guy that was in his first ever job. They don't like that when that was brought up either. But going to all of that, Michael, obviously, the media bias, the manager bias. I thought it was a very good game from us. If anything, I think we actually should have scored more.
Yeah, I thought United came with a plan, didn't they? Very cagey. Very, very sort of, made sure they didn't want to get embarrassed, as much, put everyone behind the ball. And, we kind of it was like a boxing match, or, just a few jabs, testing the geezer out. Let's see what you've got. And then, second half, we just up the level, and they couldn't live with it, and the goals came from set pieces. But I just think we stepped it up a couple of gears, and I don't think they produced a shot on goal. I don't think, or was it one shot they produced in the whole game? Like put one shot on goal, but whatever it was like some kind of stat that's not been the case of Man United sides, coming to the Emirates, especially. And as you said, it's just a narrative, isn't it? Another narrative, especially when we play against United or Liverpool, because they're the ones that have got the pundits all over the place. So when we do something against one of those sides, and obviously that's where they all come out of the woodwork and peddle their narratives, set piece FC or what have you. So, but no, it was great to get a result over them. Always is. Obviously, with all the games that's happening, a game every 3 days, you kind of, you don't get a chance to celebrate it, do you? As you would in the past, you celebrate for like a week before you had the next game. But no, it was, obviously delighted we got that win and rolled on to what happened the next game. But I'll let Neil say what he thinks about it.
Yeah, I mean, Neil, just quick as well. Mike makes a great point there about Man United's chances. Their fans, again, like I said, a lot of Man United fans are dense. We know this. It's not their fault that, they can't help it. They're trying, bless them. God loves a trier. As my mum would always say to me, God rest her soul, she'd always say to me, God loves a trier, James. They love a trier. Yeah, they are. All that money. No one moans about the money they spent to be a good side. Always on Arsenal. Well, you've nearly done 700, 800 million there. What have you got to show for it? I'm like, a bit more. Man United might have won a bit more. They might have won the cups, but what's going on down there? That's what I always say. Look at your own house. Sort your own house out before you judge everybody else's. That's what I always say. But yeah, just quick as well. All their best chances come from set pieces. Yet, Arsenal only. We were boring from. Trying to score from set pieces is boring. Apparently, I thought the aim of the game was to score goals, Neil. But if you want to educate me on what the aim of the game is, I'll mute myself now and let you fire away.
We won 2-0. What's more to say? Right. End of the day, we would all like to score beautiful, sexy goals from open play, which actually is our trademark, and we're known for it. And it will. At the moment, we're getting a vast number of goals from set pieces, but a goal's a goal. I don't remember in the book where it said you only get a certain number of points if you only score this type of goal, or you get a bonus point for scoring a team goal, which is involved 20,000 passes and led to an amazing finish. A goal's a goal at the end of the day. I mean, if it's an own goal, it is what it is. Yeah, I guess as Arsenal fans, we would probably like to see a little bit more from open play, but that's starting to come. We saw a little bit of that in the most recent game, and we will come good. We were good for it. But the thing is, even though we may be scoring from set pieces, we're not playing horrible, boring, lackluster football. We are creating chances. We're just not finishing them as clinically as we would like to, and that's it. I see other teams who come with absolutely nothing, and they just want to just come with a low block and stop the other team from playing football. Jose Mourinho, I won't mention no names. But it's always Arsenal. They get labelled with absolutely everything. It's boring, James. We know, we've been through it over and over and over again on countless pods, on countless WhatsApp chats, countless Twitter exchanges. We are bored of it. Let them come with all the narrative they want. They've obviously got energy. They've got time in their lives to do it. I don't know where they get the time from, but if they're more interested in Arsenal, all these people, they're so focused on us. Great. For me, that tells me that they're all closet Arsenal fans.
Yeah. I mean, it does make me laugh that all these other content creators, YouTubers, whatever you want to call them, pundits, everything else as well, especially the ones that are like very biased to clubs that they've obviously played for, or towards teams that they support. I know some people do give Arsenal a bit of credit, but it's very slim and very none. They're all like, oh, I don't concern Arsenal. I don't want to talk about Arsenal in a title race because they're serial bottlers. I don't see Arsenal as a threat. I'm like, well, for people who claim they don't care about Arsenal, you seem to talk about Arsenal quite a lot. You talk about Arsenal an awful lot for people who don't care about them. But yeah, for the Man United game, Timber getting his first goal, I thought that was brilliant. That was a great moment for him. And then William Saliba, who I got my little graphic here. Bear with me. I gave him the man of the match, and it wasn't just because he scored a goal with his bum before people start. I thought that Saliba was actually brilliant in that game, in guiding the back four. I thought he was really, really good in that game. So yes, very, very happy to give Saliba the man of the match for that one. Rolling, is there anything else you guys want to touch on with the Man United game quickly before I jump to Fulham? Is there anything else you guys want to mention, bring up at all? No, okay, yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah,
isn't it the fourth time? Have we beaten them four in a row or 5 in a row?
Yeah.
Well, Neil, the top six, the top six in the brackets. I think our record against them in the last couple of years has been fantastic. I think
I agree.
Man United haven't beaten us for nearly three seasons. Chelsea haven't beaten us for what, nearly 4?
Wow, excellent.
Spurs, is it 3 or 4? And then City is what,
Record
2
there.
seasons? Well, apart from the cup, is it the cup game they beat us? But in the league,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, they
nearly-
beat us in
is
the
it
January. Yeah.
2 seasons
Yeah,
in the
you're
league
right.
since we lost to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's games like I'm going to talk about now, Fulham, that was, it's the reverse. Neil, you always say to me, whenever we get the attack going, we can't get the defense right. Whenever the defense is great, the attack isn't doing. But yeah, we've got reverse syndrome with Arteta, where we beat all the big teams, but then when you play the teams that you're expected to beat, this is where you drop the points. But yeah, going on to Fulham, and I will preface this with saying that I did not watch this game live fully at the time. I had another commitment, and I had my phone on silent, and I saw that there was 111 WhatsApp notifications, which instantly made me think that's something's gone wrong. I was like, there's going to be something that's not celebrating the goal. That's a lot of FFS, something. And when I finally did catch up with it after dodging the spoilers, yeah, there's just so much, so much to say. But obviously, Zinchenko, as we know, played against Man United, and we all know with Zinchenko, as soon as he has his one game, he's got to take 4 months off after it. That's just how he is, sadly. So we had to switch it up a bit. And when I initially saw that lineup, because obviously I saw the lineup before I had to go and be where I needed to be, I felt quite bad towards putting Thomas Partey at right back. But when I watched the game after, I was like, you know what? Actually, you played really well. Other than from an attacking sense of you don't overlap and you don't contribute in that way, I thought put Tim, but that triangle of Timber, Saka, and Odegaard has been smashing it the week. But they got 15 goals in a week the week before, and basically it was all from we all know we're right side dominant, and those three pretty much were at the core of most of it. So I thought, why break that and swap it over? But when you watch the game, necessarily it wasn't, again, like we've said, it wasn't the defence that was the issue. It was the lack of what was happening further up. But obviously they go ahead 1-0. It's a great finish from Jimenez. I know a lot of people, especially in the Arsenal sphere, are blaming everything that's going wrong. I mean, I saw David Raya getting blamed for that. I was like, I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe people blaming Raya for that. I was like, that's not his fault. It's what happens before. And as much as I praise Kivior, I do portion a lot of it towards him. Jimenez comes outside and then comes inside, and he just doesn't clock it. And for me, I'm like, you got to be quick. And he's not slow. We know that Kivior's not, but I'm like, you got to read that. You got to read that much earlier than you do. And obviously, Saliba's coming across to cover, and he's just not quick enough. And it's a really, really nice finish. But Saliba obviously redeems himself, getting the goal again. It's another one from a set piece. Havertz, I mean, he should have been scoring that himself, really, if we're going to point fingers at people. But Saliba tucks it in, and then the substitutions that are made. Obviously, Nwaneri, I won't slander him. I don't think he done anything wrong. But the big two you got to point at are obviously the Brazilians. I'll go to you first, Neil, because we know how much you love Gabriel Martinelli, but the offside, it's defensible, isn't it? How he's not read that properly.
I'm losing. I don't know, losing the will to live when it comes to him. I don't think I've ever backed a player so much, and I feel stupid now because he's just not progressed at all with his mind, footballing mind. I don't know. I sometimes question whether he has one. I know there's another game that we're going to talk about which he probably was a little bit better, but to be honest, you've got to be, as a striker, you've got to be very consistent. You've got to be doing things all the time, and not just doing things all the time, but doing things all the time effectively, efficiently, and well with product or end product. And I don't see that from him. He's been with us for a few years, and if anything, I thought the best time he's been with us is when he first started before his injury, and then that one season he had 3 seasons ago where he scored 15, and that's it. And we haven't really seen anything, any essence of progression. If you, I know it's difficult to compare with Saka because Saka's just extraordinary, but you've got to see some kind of progression, and I don't see it. And for this to be he to be like offside here, he's in probably the best position of anyone on the pitch. He's got no one near him pressurising him, and he's right down the line and he can see it. And then even if you haven't got pace, which he does have, you could probably still make that and do everything you need to do. But he has pace. He could have started about 2 foot, even 2 yards further back, and he could probably still have made that. And I think that's sacrilegious, and I think it's criminal, to be honest. I think it's just such a bare bones mistake. And I know I can't talk. I've never played football at any level, but a professional being paid so much money, you must be doing that kind of stuff in training all the time. It should be almost like an automatic thing for you. Yeah. And in that situation where, okay, credit where credit's due, everything that followed it was superb. I mean, his cross, superb. Saka's finish, everything was perfect. And I think that's what makes it harder. I think I may have mentioned that on one of the other, with Michael or Jack or both, that makes it even harder to accept. But he has, I don't know what's happened to him. I just don't know whether something's got to be addressed behind closed doors. But for me, he's just not the player that I would have liked to have seen. He's far from it, guys. He really is. And I think something needs to change. Either he has to change, or there has to be a personnel change, as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah, and Mike, obviously I'll let you riff on Martinelli as well, but I've got to throw, I mean, the next game, we'll be speaking about him even more, trust me, but I've got to throw Gabriel Jesus in here as well, because the one that Declan Rice lofts over to him, for me, I'm like, you're a £50 million centre forward, regardless if you give it the whole, I'm more of an assister than I am a goal scorer, which again, I'm like, people go on about Ramsdale sitting with Ian Wright saying, I can't concentrate, I can't concentrate for 90 minutes, which I was like, dumb thing to say. Yeah. For a guy who's got a number 9 shirt on his back to say that I prefer setting up than scoring goals, that to me is like red flag central anyway.
Yeah.
But
100%.
He doesn't even anticipate. We know what Leno is like. We have enough sample size to know that Bernd Leno is not the most secure person in it, and to not even think, like, once that drops over, he's coming out, dink it over him, side foot it round him. I mean, you've played, you and Jack have played centre forward, Mike. You know the score.
Yeah. All you got to do is little touch. That's all you need to do.
But he let it bounce. He didn't even try. And I was like, what is the matter with you? As much as the same with Martinelli, I was like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Because the only person that can motivate this guy is himself. I'm like, Arteta can tell you everything. We've said it before, haven't we? Where, if they're in training all week, just great pass that, great touch that. If they're scoring goals in the little nets or whatever, in the little 5v5s or whatever, brilliant goal that, Gabriel, keep that up at the weekend. But he doesn't even, and he hasn't got the instinct to think or to see where that ball's going to go. What do I need to do? And I'm like, if you've lost that, then you are just lost altogether, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think this is what we're seeing in him is the ramifications of probably the second knee injury he's had. Whereas when he came back after the first one, he had elements of, he was kind of there still. I think the second one has finished him. He's nowhere near that player that we first bought in terms of his mobility and his actual hunger of actually trying to do some damage, to oppositions. He's basically shirked all. He doesn't want no responsibility of actually scoring the goals or being the man with the responsibility to score the goal, to change, to make the difference. Basically, he'll rather, he said it. He'd rather like to put balls on the plate, on the plate for people to score. He did that obviously midweek. He just doesn't. He's playing football and vibes at the moment. He's not playing in a serious way that I want to be the man like when he first arrived. He just wants to play, but without having the responsibility to be the one where it's all going to fall on. And when it does, we saw what happened against Fulham. We saw what happened against Monaco. This guy just hasn't got, he hasn't got the minerals now in that position. But I think another position, maybe on the left, if you ask him to do the job on the left or right, I think that's where his future lies if he's going to contribute. But we can't rely on this guy to be, to come on and to make a difference. I mean, he scored 1 goal all year. He's scored 1 Premier League goal since last January. He's coming up to a year without a goal in the Premier League. It's just not. It's not good enough. It's absolutely not good enough. And I mean, Arteta spoke about him, didn't he? Pre-season, said, "Oh, see the new Jesus. He looks really hungry. He's really trying to boost him up." Then he got injured again, and you can't pull the wool over our eyes. The guy's finished as a top operator at that level. He can just do a job now. I think if you need him to come on and do some running, closing down defensive work on the wings, then yeah. But I think up front, he's done. He's not that guy anymore.
Yeah, and obviously Trossard, before he got hooked for Martinelli, I thought he was actually doing okay. That second half, I'm like, he's just where he's starting to click and develop a bit of play and a bit of a, stride, and then he gets subbed off. And like I put in the chat, he just completely ignored Arteta and Stuyvenberg to sit. And I was like, oh God, here it again. He's been given his new contract and his money, and he's having a sulk. I'm like, that's brilliant. And again, something that I noticed, and I mentioned it with you guys as well, and I know a few other people said to me, I think you're reading a bit too much into that, but I don't, is that Gabriel Jesus is this club's vice captain, recognised vice captain. When Odegaard went off, he gave the armband to Saka. Now, Saka, should really be giving that to Jesus, but he didn't. And Jesus didn't question it, and none of the other players question. And that makes me feel in that locker room now, that hierarchy, that chain of command, per se, they don't respect him enough to respect that chain of command. They're like, you ain't that guy. So if they feel it as players and we're feeling it as fans, and I mean, the last time you guys come on, we had a chat about Jesus as well, and I put it up on the TikTok, and somebody just went, "Oh, you guys, Arsenal fans, all you do is moan about players," and I'm like, I can only again, and we've lived by this motto the whole time that we've all been together talking. We say what we see, and what we see, and what I see is a guy that is done, especially as a centre forward. Maybe like you said, Mike, he might not be done elsewhere, but as a centre forward for Arsenal, he is finished for me. Yeah. He is absolutely 100% finished. But just quickly as well, man of the match for that game, I gave it to Declan Rice. I actually thought it was one of his best games in a long, long time, especially from the six. I thought he played really, really well. Do either of you have another shout for the Fulham game in terms of man of the match, or are you all right with my assessment there?
No, I thought Saliba played really well.
Yes.
Obviously he got the goal, but I thought in the conditions, Rice definitely got the bit between his teeth, didn't he? He looked like he really wanted to make a difference. Got in a couple of good positions himself. He could have scored a couple, but no, I thought he got the bit between his teeth, and I thought that was Declan Rice from last season. The way he was playing. So I agree. Yeah, he definitely should have got the man of the match for that.
Cool. And Neil?
No, I agree. I think he's improving a lot more than what the first 10 dozen games, whatever it's been, and the ones that obviously he's missed through absences. But he's I think the last 2.5-3 games maybe he's coming back to the Rice that we knew of last season. So I was really pleased for him. The other thing I just wanted to say on that game is, of course, we saw Thomas Partey miss, I think, from a set piece, and people were getting on his back, and I'm thinking, all right, okay, hang on a second. As again, what I said earlier about being a professional, being paid so much money, things like that, maybe you should really be getting on target. But I still will stand by and say that that's not his real responsibility. Neither is it the defender's real responsibility. When you have a forward lineup and you compare it to the defensive lineup, and that defensive lineup is destroying them with goal tally, that's embarrassing. The forward lineup has to step up.
Yeah, 100% agree. And I know he made comments after the game that obviously Jack picked up on with you, Neil. I remember listening back and what he said. And I agree with him in that Arteta was more concerned about the goal and saying, can't let a team have one moment. It was not more about what I should be doing with my strikers or my attacking force to win these games, so that if we concede goals like that, because again, another big debate we've always had is about the type of goals we concede. for me necessarily. Yes, that could have been stopped, but at the same point, it's an amazing finish. And I'm like, Jimenez is never going to be able to. He's not going to spin someone like that and finish like that again, probably all season.
Yeah, James, sorry, I was going to say there's a stat. Sorry, there's a stat actually. It's funny you bringing it up, but the XG for Neto's goal against us for Chelsea, the XG for that goal was 0.03, and the XG for Jimenez's goal was 0.02. So they're goals that shouldn't be happening, but we seem to be getting punished for just like goals like that going in. Whereas, like Neil was saying, people, the strikers aren't doing their job, and then it's relying on Thomas Partey. If we're relying on Thomas Partey to get a goal from a set piece, which he should have against United as well, then you've got to kind of wonder what's going on. But yeah, we're getting punished at the same time as being a bit lax, especially in that game. We can't go too tough on them because obviously we scored, a few goals in the last couple of games, especially going back to West Ham and stuff. But no, yeah, you're right. I mean, but we're just seem to be getting punished by these worldly goals as well. So just something we need to look at as well. Yeah,
exactly. But touching on the next game, obviously the most recent one, the one that the one we could go in more detail on. And Neil, obviously you were there. I saw before the game a lot of people obviously put the tickets up on the exchange, but it still sounded and looked electric to me. Neil, was it electric in there? I mean, it's Arsenal Champions League under the lights, isn't it? It's got to be electric in there.
Oh God, yeah, it was electric, but it was the most bizarre game that I've been to for a while because all the trains and tubes were more or less empty. That was a bit weird. The pubs were literally, well, I wouldn't say empty, but normally when you go in before a game, you can't move. And there was just space. And you're like, oh, this is lovely. And you could put your feet up, you could get your PlayStation out.
Swing a cat in it. Yeah, I'm not saying that.
Play a bit of FIFA before you start, get in the mood. So I'm like, what is going on here? It was just bizarre. And then as soon as we get to the stadium, and that's not even the part where you're literally, this is just before outside the gates, the turnstiles. You can't move. And it was particularly sod's law. It was my block that there was problems. So I missed the first 5 minutes. I missed the bit with the flag in the middle. I'm like, this is my first Champions League game this season. I missed it. I was gutted. So I missed the first 5 minutes, but it was fine. I mean, but when you got in there, it was crazy. It was a lovely atmosphere, and of course the away fans were helping because they got their drums out and all that. So it's always a lovely fixture to go to a European tie. The fact that we're in Europe, it's just always nice to go. So I thought the atmosphere was good, and then of course we had I think we had a decent performance. But I'll let you dictate how you want to talk about it. But I thoroughly enjoyed that game. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah. I think we all did as well, and we'll dive into it. Obviously, again, not through our fault. Just sadly, just the circumstances that you're in. 10th different back four for the season already, and we're only just into December. And we've played 10 different players in the back four. But yes, obviously Rice and Moreno and Odegaard got to play in the midfield. That could be a sign of things to come. We'll talk about that later. And then Jesus obviously up top and Martinelli back in the team. And Lewis Skelly obviously making his debut at left back. I know we'll touch on him in a bit as well. But Mike, I'll go to you first. And I hate to bring him up again after we've only talked about him so soon. But Gabriel Jesus, the three sitters that were missed, and then the sliding chance that was missed.
Yeah.
Talk me through it, because as soon as I saw the first two, and I don't care if people have a go at me or whatever. I got a lot of skin. I'm a big man, but I got thick skin as well. I was screaming down the thing on the voice notes when I was like, get rid of it, sub him. I've seen enough. I went sub him. Thank God we didn't, because he did set up a goal. But this is before all this happened. But yeah, the three sitters, and then obviously the slide when Moreno played him through. Well, my.
Yeah, it's just really, really, really poor. And the disappointing thing was that it was a Champions League night, right? So we know what he's like when he hears the anthem, and he puts in a performance.
He was in the pub with Neil at the time. That's why. He weren't listening to the music.
Yeah. So it was just kind of, you can look at it another way, saying he got into those positions. he actually got into those positions, and that's something we maybe have a go at. Maybe Havertz not getting into those positions as much, but he got into those positions to miss them. But yeah, they were bad misses. I mean, once you've missed one, you've got to make sure you tuck the second one, and then you compound it by missing another one as well. And we ended up doing his work on the wing, putting the ball across, and I just think that's just where he's going to be more useful to us going forward. I think we play Havertz as a 9, and if you don't play Havertz as a 9, we've got to play Trossard as a 9, because we've done that last season, and he had a good spell when he did that, when he played as a false 9, because it enabled us to maybe bring more people into play a little bit more. And I think, correct me if I'm wrong, I think Neil may have been to a couple of games when that happened. He was rotating with Martinelli a lot. So Martinelli was having some time up front. We were all getting excited. What we were thinking, this could be the birth of Martinelli as a centre forward. But I think the fact that he set up Saka so brilliantly for that goal from Lewis Skelly's brilliant pass, I think that's where he's got to be utilised there in those positions rather than as a centre forward now. And if he gets a goal from that position, great. But I just think that, with what we've got coming up, we can't be chucking chances like that away, especially from open play.
Yeah. And Neil, obviously, all of us love Haaland players. We all, we're all very, very appreciative and happy for the young players. But I know you especially really enjoy seeing youth come through. You passionately talk about some. I remember before you've said to me, have you seen this on Twitter of such and such in the youth tier? And I'm like, oh no, I haven't. And then you ping it across, and I'm like, oh wow, what a goal that is, or what a bit of skill that is. You're keeping your eyes on not just the first team, but also what goes around the club. And obviously Lewis Skelly coming in, the first goal, it's all him, isn't it? This is a young lad, the strength to hold the guy off, and then it's a beautiful, beautiful pass. And like Mike says, after, I've got to be as loud in my praise as I am in my criticism. It's a great ball from Jesus. And if you put that ball in that area to Bukayo Saka, he's scoring it. He's the main, he's not star boy anymore. He's star man, in the words of David Bowie. But I'll let you, as we like to say on here, wax lyrical about Lewis Skelly quickly.
Oh man, could I have a bit more than quickly?
Okay, take your time.
No, I don't want to bore it all you lot. But firstly, just let me say, the fact that what you mentioned right at the top of this part of the conversation, 10th change at the back, that would derail any side, even Man City and Liverpool. I'm sorry, any side. I think the boys that came in, especially for Monaco, for me, I was especially fixated on seeing how well this defence did. And especially in the first half, because I was on that side, so I could really watch them. And let me first, before I go mad about Skelly, let me just quickly mention Kiwior as well, because I think he done a tremendous job, especially against Monaco. Now, Monaco are not a bad side. I was shocked. Jack was the one who first started telling me about, because I was going, 2-0, yeah, we'll be all right. And he's going, Neil, they're beating some damn good sides there. They're not easy. Very much like Lisbon, had an amazing record before we played them and smashed them to pieces. Monaco, again, are no mugs. And for a makeshift side to come in, lineup to come in and not to concede. But I just want to give kudos to that first. And also then Kiwior, that pass to Jesus, which he fluffed. That reminded me, now I'm going back and showing my age. I remember when Glenn Hoddle, I know he played for them lot, but he used to do stuff like that. And I was like, and Bergkamp actually, he molded his game by watching Hoddle. That was the irony. But Bergkamp always used to say that Glenn Hoddle is his idol. But that's what Bergkamp started doing. He could see a pass, and that in Kiwior. And I thought, wow, I didn't realize it was him at first. I thought, what a ball! If only Jesus had finished it, what a goal that would have been. Anyway, let's move on to the main man.
He should have done the. I know we're playing him next game. He should have done the Tony Adams with Steve Bold, didn't he?
Yes,
it was that lofty, and you were thinking, take it on the volley, but he took the touch, and he should have wellied it. Yeah,
100%.
But I'm glad you've mentioned Kiwior as well, there, Neil. Sorry to just cut you off quickly, because the way people talk about Kiwior, and I know I've got very weird analogies, but stick with me. Say you and Mike have bought tickets to go and see Guns N' Roses, yeah? So all the pyros going off at the start, the lights, and you hear the beginning of Welcome to the Jungle, and you're like, yes, Guns N' Roses, Guns N' Roses. But instead of Slash, out comes with a top hat, me and a tennis racket. That's what people think Kivior is instead of Gabriel. And I'm like, no, there's obviously a drop-off, but the drop-off's not that bad. It's not like you're getting an absolute novice. They make out like you're getting a novice. And it's not a novice. This guy's a good player, man. Okay.
He's very good.
I'll freely admit, the first chance they had from Golovin is Kivior trying to play it out the back like a madman. He's trying to dribble through 3 or 4 people. But he gets back in time. And okay, the guy whipped the shot wide. But I will say he did get back in time to cover it just in case he needed to. But yeah, I'm like, if you're comparing him to Gabriel, well, yeah, of course, because Gabriel's second or third best centre back in the. Okay, I'm going to say second best because I hate Liverpool and I hate Van Dijk. I think Saliba's the best. I think Gabriel's number 2.
Thank you.
He's definitely in the top 3 in the league at least.
Yeah.
And I'm like, of course he's not going to be as good as Gabriel is. But Jesus, I'm like the way they compare this guy. It's like we got him from like a bargain bin, and it's like I put to you guys on the WhatsApp group. The Italian league is known for defenders. If Kivior's so bad, why do 4 out of the top 7 in the Italian league want to buy him in January or loan him? They don't really buy in Italy; they like a loan.
No,
that to me, it just baffles me. But anyway, yes, carry on, Lewis Skelly and the pass.
I'm glad you said that because I think he deserves it. He deserves that accolade. He really does. And I want people to understand that Kivior is an absolutely brilliant squad player that we've got. Brilliant. And the other thing is to me, yes, that he might make errors here and there, but who doesn't? Who doesn't? Even the greats have made errors. I feel confidence within him, and he exudes it. He's not one of these players that are scared or concerned. He's willing to try and he's willing to do the job and make every effort to do so. I really like the guy. I've got a lot of time for him. But Skelly, I think we have found our left back problem. Well, our left back problem is solved. I'm not interested in his age. I'm sick of people who go on about age. Oh, we're going to burn them out. Skelly, what I was watching him and I was thinking, this guy, he's not like, he gets on the ball and he's not like quick with it. He doesn't like flash it. He's very deliberate with what he does. He's very thoughtful with what he does. He's very deliberate and he's almost calculated. He's like, he gets it and he's almost like got an inbuilt radar and he's scanning the whole pitch. And he's looking for that pass. Now, I know sometimes you haven't always got, all the time in the world. You haven't. But the way he does it, there's something about this boy that he's way above his age in terms of maturity as a player. That's how I saw it. And I think so far, I'll have to say, and I might be doing some of our other left backs a disservice here. And I'm not including Timber because I want to see Timber on the right with Odegaard and Saka. So I'm not including Timber. I'm talking about everyone else, and I'm sorry that even includes you, Rico. I know you're as good looking, as amazing you are. That includes you. I think he should be our first choice at the moment as it stands, because I think he adds stability and also what he also did. I think he worked well on that side because we've been saying we've been so minded. I saw a lot more play on the left. In fact, if anything, I saw more play, especially in the first half, going from the left-hand side. And Martinelli was also getting involved. And I think, if anything, he could bring out everything that I've just gone and poo-pooed Martinelli for. Maybe he might bring something out in him by doing that. And I think there was an inclusion of Marino getting involved. And I think Skelly could also link up very well with Marino. So it's not just from an individual point of what Skelly does by himself. It's what he adds to maybe 2 or 3 other players. And more importantly, that extra dimension that we have on the left-hand side, which has been severely lacking, which has not given us all the offensive options that we should have as Arsenal Football Club. He's brilliant.
Yeah, Mike, I'll just let you have a quick word on Skelly as well. I mean, I said it the other day in the chat with all of us and I know a lot of people say about, pass percentage, you shouldn't, I know Kevin De Bruyne really poo-pooed earlier this season pass percentage stats because he just said, we can all have a 99% passing game. It's where the passes are. It's if they're key passes. But for me, I take into account this is a young man playing in his debut in the Champions League against Al Cluj. I probably butchered his name. But this guy is one of the in-form wingers in Europe. Every big club is looking at this guy for Monaco. And he didn't dribble past him in the 65 minutes that he played against him. He only made one tackle. Now, to me, that weren't a slide in. That wasn't as if like a late one or he's been out there. He made one tackle in that game against him. And I just like Neil said, I thought just technically, just exceptional. And also from a defensive standpoint as well, exceptional.
Yeah.
And I was really, really proud of him. What about yourself?
Yeah, 100%. You know, to totally echo what Neil said about him. I think the goal, his part in the goal, and just his performance. I mean, I think I said at half time. I think I messaged you in the WhatsApp group, or maybe it was at the end of the game. I think I said the good thing about this is that, you know, Arteta's got no excuses anymore not to play, not to put this kid in as left back again. He's got to go in again Saturday. If he's fit, play him again Saturday. Give him another 70 minutes, whatever. He needs to play. There's nothing stopping you. If he can do that in his Champions League debut against a top side, you know, they caused us a couple of issues, you know, defensively in the first half. They look pretty tidy. They're two wingers and everything. Very technically good. If he can play like that with that composure, and to play that kind of pass in his Champions League, you know, debut at home, you know, his mum was probably watching in the stands, jumping up and down like she did when he came on that time. I mean, just felt so proud for him and chuffed for her. But if he can do that, then there's no excuse. There's nothing to say that, well, we can't play him against Everton, or we can't play. He's got to play, and he's going to nail that side down, because, as you said, not only going forwards and picking the pass, he defensively as well. He's got that tigerish, you know, that competitive side of him as well. He wants to win the ball back because he's a midfielder, isn't he? They kind of earmarked him as a six, you know, anyway, you know, for the, you know, when he plays for the kids and everything, and at 6 or an 8. So he's got that side of him as well, where he can pick a pass out and he can win the ball back. So if he's fit, man, he's got to play. He's got to play, and someone's got to try and move him out. And that's not Timber playing over on the left. That's one of the guys on the left-hand side. So whether that's Calafiori or, you know, when he gets fit, I think you've got to stick with this kid, you know, because he's shown that he's got the mentality and the composure to do the business. If he can do it there, then, you know, that's not putting anything down on Everton, but you've got to play him. You've got to keep him in the side. Yeah,
and I should have known better when he was having it with Haaland in that away game earlier in the season. You know, he weren't having none. He was going for it, and I was like, I should have known then that he was no nonsense. But yeah, and I'll tell you what, another thing I like about him.
That's a great shout, James. Forgot about that. That's a great shout.
He probably will change it because the club like to progress the players, but I'm like, he wears 49. Keep him in 40. We like, Arsenal fans like 49 as a number. I know we should have had it to 50 and we got robbed, but that's a different podcast for a different day. But we like 49. Keep him in the 49. It's nice. It suits him. I like it. You know, it makes me happy seeing him wear that shirt. But anyway, moving on from that, Odegaard, that first half, he missed a sitter. You know, I've gone for Jesus. I've got to go for Odegaard. He missed an absolute sitter as well. Poor from him. Should have done better. Great anticipation straight away. That's Martin Odegaard's bread and butter in that. You know, he's normally yelling at the others to press with him. But yeah, he reads that so well. He wins it up high. That's his that's the speciality for him. But yeah, he should have tucked one. And then I'm gonna have to bring him up. Martinelli, he obviously missed one as well, but I think he was offside. But I went to you first last time, Neil, so I'll go to Michael this time. Martinelli, man. This guy's regression has to be studied.
Yeah,
I can't believe how badly this is, and I don't like saying it. It's very easy from my position of a man that's sat talking on a microphone on a computer, slated a professional footballer.
Yeah,
but my God, I don't know how. I still now don't know how he managed to come on second half straight and not.
Yeah,
you know, when I saw him walk out the tunnel for the second half.
I couldn't believe it.
Because the brain dead. I mean, the yellow card again is stupid, much like he's won at Fulham. But to carry on doing the and he should have been sent off. He should have
Yeah.
been sent off.
Yeah, crazy.
I will throw my hands up. I mean, I got lambasted last season when we played Newcastle away, and I said Havertz is a jammy bastard for getting away with that 2-footer. And people went, "Oh, he was nowhere near." And they're like, "What about Guimaraes' elbow?" And I went, "Yeah, he should have been off as well." I said they both should have been sent off.
Yeah.
And for me, I do not know how. I mean, we know if it was Premier League, he probably got sent off for the first one if it was Premier League. But even in Europe, I'm like, he's warned you twice, stop pulling these players' shirts when they run.
Yeah.
And he does it again. And then he does it again. And after he's done it again the first time.
Yeah. It was really, really bizarre because I thought the ref was poor. He was flagging for some of them silliest things as well, giving them decisions their way and stuff. Yeah, it was just absolute brain dead. It's not like he's not been yellow carded, twice in 30 seconds, isn't it? It's not like that's not happened to him. It did happen to him. So why would you do that? You could hear the crowd. Well, you were there, Neil. Like when he did the second foul, you probably heard the gasp in the crowd, thinking, "Christ!" And then he did something else again, and it was like, what is wrong with this kid? Someone said his name's not really Gabriel Martinelli. His name's Gary Martin. That's the way he's playing at the moment. He's playing like some guy, Sunday league player. That just got off on a ringer. His name's Gary Martin. That's the way he's playing at the moment. I mean, Jesus Christ. Just baffling. I just think he's just got too much, going on in his head at the moment. He just making all the decisions he's making are the wrong ones. There was one moment where he made a break in the second half where he took his man and he put a crossover, and I don't think anyone attacked it. But that's, we're all asking for someone in the a little bit of someone with an X factor in the attack, aren't we? We just need someone there who's going to do something and just maybe whack it in the top corner, or just someone who's going to have a little bit of chaos up there. And he's bringing the chaos, but in the wrong way. He's almost like Darwin Núñez sort of kind of situation. He's just, everything's just going wrong. And the frustrating thing is because we know how good he is, but does he need certain individuals around him? When he played really well, he had Xhaka behind him, didn't he? And I won't say so much Zinchenko, but I just think it's the person who's next to him in midfield just needs to allow him to focus more on the attack, because when he does his defensive side, that's where he's picking up the yellow cards. He picked up a yellow card on Sunday against Fulham for defensive action when he thought he should have, when he's kind of trapped back and he thought it was his throw in, and then he got one Wednesday as well for the same thing. So but then what do? Do you take him out, you put Trossard in, and then you're having the same conversation but in a different way because of the way he's played as well. It's just hitting your head against a brick wall, mate.
Yeah, I mean, sadly, I don't have my Oxford Dictionary in this room with me, so I don't know if it is a word or not. But I'm going to gamble. Just the petulancy. I've never seen him be petulant, and I'm like, what? I'm like, you're being childish. Like he's never been like a sulker. And I'm like, you walking, like throwing the ball down against Fulham and everything. He could have been sent off, not just for the dissent, but for the other stuff that he was doing at Fulham as well. I'm like, that's in 2 games. Yeah. I'm like, I don't know who's got to get a hold of him. I don't know if Odegaard as a captain's got to do it. The manager's got to do it. Because I'm like, nobody's telling you to do this. And I'll put the comment up from Hantumi and then I'll go to you, Neil, because it is I do agree with this. I'd give Martinelli a bit of time to build a relationship with Moreno. Again, I saw a few rotation in the left flank between him and Moreno, underlaps like Xhaka used to, and Nelly was finding him. Yeah, I thought Moreno, especially that first half, he was popping little thing, and you could see, I was like, okay, these two have got a bit amongst themselves together, which I agree I'd like to see more of. But you ain't going to get that. The refs have marked our card this season. I mean, they have for a very long time. For whatever reason, they've marked our card this season. And I think it goes to the other clubs last season actually complaining to the refs about the way Arsenal are conducting themselves, especially from set pieces with like pulling or grabbing and everything. So they all, all the other clubs complained and were like, oh, you're not paying as much attention to what. Now I think, they're paying too much attention. I think we're getting we're being extra scrutinized compared to everybody else. But I'm like, you're not going to develop any relationship when you're banned from games for your for being petulant. And that is something I'd never describe with him. And again, the word I keep using is brain dead. And Neil, you were obviously there, but there were times in the first half I'm even watching on the television, and I can see that line of 5 Monaco players. So there's obviously the ones at the back, and then the 2 that are guarding at the front. And the only person I know that can run through a massive amount of men is Lily Phillips. But Martinelli is trying to take on. He's trying to run through.
But he's always done that. He's always done that. He's become predictable.
And again, it's like I said, it's not even with his head up. His head's he's looking at the
no,
ball and trying to go through people.
Yeah, no.
What's the episode of X-Files with the guy that goes through the walls? Is it Toombs? It scared the life out of me when I was a kid.
Yeah, Toombs.
It scared the life. He thinks he's Toombs from X-Files. I'm like, you can't run through walls, Martinelli. I love you, but you can't do it. I mean, it's crazy. I just think, we said it the last time we all got together that Jesus is playing for himself. I don't believe he's doing it from a selfish perspective. I don't know what's going on.
No, I don't get it. I think we've said all that needs to be said before we end up being branded as the Get Martinelli Out podcast, which is not the case. I think we're just trying to understand what has happened to the kid and why he is the way he is and what he's doing. I'll play devil's advocate a little bit, maybe just to balance it out slightly. I think this is what I was referring to. I might have said it slightly earlier that I thought he had a slightly better game, which isn't saying a lot. But the only reason is what this comment has been made. I don't know who made it, but that's right. I think he was linking up better with Marino, and obviously, as I said earlier, about Skelly being involved on that left-hand side as well. But there was that one chance that Marino missed, but that was a great one too between the 2 players. Fantastic. Martinelli's part in it. Brilliant. That's what we used to see from Martinelli. That's the kind of stuff we want to see. But this thing about him playing with his head, looking down, I just think that's the way he is. He won't change. Ain't going to change him, is it? It's just not going to change. But that takes away your awareness. That takes away that extra maybe half a second that you might get as an advantage, because the Premiership and the Champions League is so fast. You don't have time, and you've got to try and create that time yourself. And if you've got your head down and then you look up, that's a little bit of time wasted. If I might be going too scientific here, but I'm trying to explain that every fraction of a second counts in this game, because that's the advantage. They're the little minuscule amounts of advantage that can really make a difference. And he just doesn't seem to have it. And I don't know what the answer is, guys. I mean, maybe it could be this Marino coming in and helping build a relationship or forge a relationship with him, which he'd love to have with Xhaka. He shared a good one with Xhaka. Then you've got Skelly there, who might be a little bit akin to the relationship that he had with Tierney in the early days. It might transform him, but they're all ifs and buts. We don't know.
What I don't like, Neil, is a lot of the discussion is who can we get to accommodate. And I'm like, no, some of this is on you. I'm like, what are you doing?
Agreed.
What is Martinelli doing to sort Martinelli out? It shouldn't be us going, let's chuck Mourinho in there to help you.
I don't like his attitude. I've just seen what he is recently.
It stinks.
I said to you, Michael, was it your pod where he's smiling when they scored? Was it Fulham scored? He's smiling. He's on the bench and he's smiling. That incensed me. I don't care if it's about something else. I really don't care. I don't care. It's like that time where he had to go at the referee, where he was on he was trying to get involved. I mean, then people were going, "Oh no, it was Gerrard," to say, "No, he's talking about saying it." How do you know? What, you read his mind? Did you? It looks a bit obvious. You're caught in that moment. The camera's panned on the manager to see his reaction, and in the background, you are smiling. He should be incensed. He should be saying, "Boss," he should shout at Arteta, saying, "Oi, get me on. I'm going to save us. I want to go on there and score a hat-trick right now, because I'm angry. We can't afford to lose this game, or we can't afford to drop points." But no, he's smiling. I'm sorry, his attitude is gone for me, and I'm not having it.
Yeah, and obviously second half, Monaco, they're trying to play out the back. Kai Havertz does what Kai Havertz does. He runs his, we always say he runs his arse off, and he's pressing like a machine, and he causes a panic. And obviously Bukayo Saka tucks in another, Mike.
Yeah, he needed that, Havertz, because he stunk the place out against Fulham. He was shocking. Basically, invisible man, I think, pretty much. I mean, even though that header, which went to Saliba for their equaliser, I mean, he should have scored that. It was a terrible attempt on it. And then he had a shot, didn't he? Which wasn't even a back pass.
Oh, it's tepid. Yeah.
I think my 5-year-old would have hit that harder when she goes to her football training. And but yeah, he looked like that little rest or whatever. When he came on, he looked energized. You know, complete the right attitude when you come off the bench. As Neil was saying, compared to Martinelli, and did what he does. Was a nuisance, wasn't he? And got that, caused that second goal for Saka. And another person who I'm a bit concerned about as well is obviously, as you mentioned, Trossard, who his performance when he came on was just as bad as Martinelli's when he came on against them. So I don't know what's going on with the two of them with their attitudes. You need to sort their attitude out, because he was shooting when he should have passed and trying to slip people in, and it wasn't. That left hand side's a problem, and we can't forget that Arteta, for whatever's happened for the last couple of years, he's been trying to get someone in on the left hand side. We know he tried to get Mudryk, and this in the summit was Nico Williams, wasn't it? That we were sort of heavily linked with. But I'm sure pretty much if you gave him someone, on the left hand side, I think that's probably who he's going to be looking at in the window, whether it's January or summer. I think Martinelli's and Trossard's, they're one of them are going to be moved on. I think to make way for a new guy, because I think he's getting close to the line with both of them. To be honest, I think he'll probably keep Trossard because he's more multifaceted, isn't he? He can play false nine. He can kind of play in the eights roles if you need him, and obviously on the wing. Whereas Martinelli's just hot and cold, isn't it? Too hot and cold.
Yeah, I mean, you mentioned Trossard there, and sorry, Neil, I will go back to you for the second and third goal. The Trossard moment with Odegaard, it's a 5, maybe 8 yard pass.
Yeah,
and he kicks it off the Monaco defender. It then comes back to him. He runs in, and again, all the other options are better on the right-hand side.
Yeah.
But he thinks, no, I'm just going to try and bend one over 30. It probably, it hit the bloody space.
Yeah.
That's another thing with him at the moment is, and we've criticised players before for doing too much. I'm like, no, this guy's being to me, I'm like, are you trying to be selfish to get your numbers up because you're angling for a move, even though you've got your new contract and everything else? I'm like, are you trying to make it look like I'm scoring all these goals or I'm getting all these assists, so I look good for wherever I decide to go next? Both of their applications at the moment, both of them as professional footballers, is to me is piss poor. And if that 100%. Makes me a bad fan because you need to back every player and there's sunshine and rainbows and we've all got to be kind and courteous, do one. Because they are being an absolute. They're just liabilities for me. I put it bluntly. I think the pair of them at the moment are absolute liabilities.
Yeah, 100%.
Agreed. I think end of the day when you've got the potential to put games away or put games to bed, and then you get people or players with that mindset and that form, if you want to call it form, I don't know what you call it actually. It's quite telling because there's so many even in these last 3 most recent games. Man United, I think we should have scored 2 or 3 more. Monaco, we actually could have scored 2 or 3 more, and Fulham we should have won. And it's where does most of the responsibility lie? Well, I know where it is. I'm not going to say it again.
Yeah. But Neil, obviously the second goal, if you want to have a quick word about that, and then even the third again, Bukayo Saka. I think he smashed it so hard off Havertz in the end. I know you said Havertz meant it, but the more I watch it back, I'm like, I think Saka's just hit that so hard, and obviously Mr. Gangly, he's a borderline Mr. Tickle with his limbs, and he old Havertz, and I just think it just goes in off him.
Did it come off? Because there's a debate. Was it recognised as his goal in the end?
Yes, I know. After the game, they said that UEFA took it away.
Yeah.
But everything I've looked at since has said no, it's a Havertz goal.
So it's 2 goals and assists for Saka. Another wow.
Yeah, and what upset me, and I put it in the chat, and again I'll repeat myself again. I'm so angry he still let Trossard take that penalty against Shakhtar,
I
because
know.
he'd have broke Thierry Henry's record. He's done it. He's done, if he scored the pen.
Annoying. Yes.
And I'm not saying Kai Havertz is a better striker than Thierry Henry, because I would be mental then. I would deserve to be criticised and chastised. But how good would that have been to know that, to walk around Arsenal knowing you're the guy that scored the most goals at home? After I've beaten a record that's been held by Thierry Henry, who is arguably Arsenal's greatest ever striker. I know he's not mine, but I know a lot of people argue that he is.
Well, he's up there, isn't he?
People go to me, how can you say he's the best ever striker in the Premier League, but you don't say he's the best player to ever play for Arsenal? And I'm like, because you didn't watch Dennis Bergkamp every week. And
Thank you very much.
That's the argument. That's what I say to people. I say to before Thierry Henry was here, I watched this guy, and even when Thierry Henry got here, this guy was still the guy.
We could do a week's podcast just on Bergkamp.
Yes.
Telling you, that's how good he was. I still think we would.
I don't think you need words to describe Dennis Bergkamp. You just put the real one. You can watch it in silence and just have loop him playing.
You asked most of the world. I know we're going really off topic. Sorry, Michael, but you asked me most of the world's best players, and I think most of them would agree that he was one. If they did play with him in some shape or form, whether internationally or one of the clubs, they'd say he was probably one of the best players, or the best player that they've ever played with. And if the guys that didn't play with him would probably say the same. Either him or Henry comes up all the time.
Yeah, but you've seen with Thierry Henry, haven't you, where he's with Carragher and Micah Richards and Abdo, and they say but you played with Messi. He's going Bergkamp. Like, he doesn't say anything else. He just says Bergkamp.
Bergkamp. Ask me the question.
Bergkamp. Yeah.
That's it. I love it. Love it. Amazing. I'm just going to say the two goals was bizarre because they're almost reverse of each other, aren't they? The first one, you got Havertz doing all that work and I like that. I don't know why we don't do more of that. Kind of really pressurise a goalkeeper. We should have been doing that more against Leno, by the way, against Fulham. And before I forget, I just want to mention, because we haven't mentioned him in a long while, which I don't know whether it's a good thing or a bad thing. But in the early doors of this season, we were talking about how Raya, man of the match, etc. And we've kind of not spoken or mentioned him for a while. But he pulled off was it against Man U? That was a magnificent save.
Yeah, it was from one of their set pieces.
Oh,
yeah, it was great. Yeah.
Not only to get to it, but the way the power of his wrist to actually push the ball away when he's literally at full stretch in the air. That's magnificent. That for me is the signs of a very, very good keeper. So I just wanted to give Raya a quick message.
Well, that's the differences, isn't it? This is where, and again, this is where my Arteta frustration comes in that he sees the little, 5% or 10%, as he likes to call it. Aaron Ramsdale wasn't bad, but he would push out, but he would push it probably back towards somebody into danger. Whereas Raya's like, no, it either goes as far away as I can, or it goes off for a corner and then I'll collect the corner or whatever.
Yeah.
But yet with these attacking players, I'm like, but you either leave these guys on too long and it costs us, or you don't bring on, Nwaneri still has limited minutes when I know that he's probably better. He'll probably give us more of the guy's a level raiser and a game changer even at his young age. And that's where I get, my little bits of Arteta anger for, and I won't go into him because obviously we've won this game and everything else. But just quickly before we wrap up as well, man of the match for that one. Had to give it to this guy. I mean, this guy at the moment, he's probably going to win man of the match most of the time. For me, he's been our player of the season so far, easily. He's really, really. When Odegaard wasn't there, he's took the mantle on his own. And again, he's not world class until he does it in the Champions League. He's got more goals and assists than Mbappe now, more goals and assists. Or he might be tied with goals and assists with Salah in the Champions League. And he's only been there 2 seasons. And Mbappe, he's 24, 25? He's been playing in it since he was 16?
Yeah, I think since the start of last season, he's had 14 goal involvements. And I think the only 2 higher than him is Vinicius Junior, 16. No, 16. And I think Harry Kane is top, with 21.
Yeah.
Sure, a lot of people call those two world class, don't they?
Exactly.
Exactly. It's funny.
Yeah,
It's
the whole
funny,
world
isn't it?
class stuff is just boring me as well because they just keep
Yeah.
winning it out because it's just they're just using it as a stick to beat him with and to subliminally beat him with and bring him down a bit, you know. Because if you don't say he's world class, and it's like a little dig at him.
It's like you just mentioned there. Oh, he's not world class until he wins trophies. I'm like, well, hang on a sec. You say Harry Kane is?
Yeah, exactly.
It's won the Aldi. Come on, James. It's won the Aldi Cup. Come on, give him some credit.
I won that. I won that when I spent 20 quid in there the other day. The till rang and it said, "Oh, Aldi Cup champion." I was like, "Oh, bloody hell, thanks, Aldi." I was like,
James, just very quickly. Sorry, I didn't answer your question. I won't go.
Apologies.
We've moved on. But just the goal. Just on the second goal more in particular. I'd like to see more of that pressurising the goalkeeper because it can lead to problems. And look what happened. And give credit to Havertz there. I know you guys said he's gone, and I agree. But I'm still going to hold back on any criticism of him. I think he's still an outstanding player. Maybe he's suffering from a little bit of fatigue. I'm quite sure that Havertz will get back to the way he was very, very soon. But I really liked that moment of work that he did there to be able to then let Saka just smash that into the back of the net, which is a beautiful thing to see. That's exactly where I was sitting. Loved it. And then again, reverse of the third goal, it was just they changed hands almost. It was Saka doing the work, but it just goes off Havertz, as you've now said that it's been given to him, and so. Wow, 2 goals and assists from Saka. So, yeah, he's got to be man of the match.
Yeah, and just quickly as well, before we wrap up, I do agree with you, Nick. I think Havertz's problem is fatigue. I don't think it's nothing about him not wanting, or I just think he's been running to the. It's classic, what we've seen with other players. They've been running to the ground because the competition, when they come, like you said at the start of the show, Lewis Skelly has seen an opportunity and gone, that shirt, mine, I'm having it. And I don't care who you are when you come back, take it from me. Whereas there's other players in the forward line and in that left-hand side where it's just like, I might have it this week. Okay, I might have it the week. I don't know. They play when they want to play. No, you play every game. You're at Arsenal Football Club.
Do you know what? I'll take it away from both. I'll take it from both and give it to Nweri. So there you go. Stick that where the sun don't shine. Then have Nweri and Skelly on the same side. Then we'll see a much balanced team. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah. Well, going into our next games, obviously Everton. And I'm glad you've leaned in with that question there, Neil, because I know I put my lineups up for what I like to see, and I've made one. Now I know for a fact this isn't going to happen, and if it does happen, then come to me Tuesday for the Euro Millions numbers, because if I get this right, I'm winning the Euro Millions on Tuesday as well. So brace yourself. I've gone for this. So obviously it's going to be our 11th back four of the season because Skelly's going to be playing with Gabriel and Saliba. He said he trained and he said he was better. So I think Gabriel's going to come in. I feel bad not letting Kivior stay in there after his performance midweek. However, I don't want to see him at left back. I want to see him in the centre, Kivior, if he plays. I think he's better as a centre back cover than he is playing at left back. And I think Lewis Skelly done enough there to deserve, like we spoke about earlier, you and Mike, Neil, you both said he's got to play tomorrow for me. So yeah, he's playing. I'm putting Partey back in the midfield with Rice and Odegaard, even though Moreno did great. I know that's still his preferred 3. And then I am so done with Martinelli and Trossard that I'm like, give Sterling a go. Because you've got to justify this 140 grand a week in this loan. Right. So I'm like, I know he's probably going to play him against Palace in the League Cup, and he's going to start him then, but he's not going to start him in this game. But I'd be like, Sterling, you've got 60 minutes. Show me what you've got instead of Martinelli and Trossard at the moment. He's never in a million years going to do it, but that's what I would do, because for me, I'm like, I've seen enough of Martinelli and Trossard at the moment to know on current form, you ain't doing nothing for me there. And then Havertz and obviously Saka pick themselves. But what do you guys think? I know that's going to be completely wrong. I understand that, but yeah. And I would have put Nwaneri wide, Neil, like you said, but I think it's more likely that he's going to put Sterling there than he would ever put Nwaneri.
I don't mind that. I'll be honest, Michael. I'll be very quick. I don't mind that, but you know what? I think because I'm so incensed with Trossard and Martinelli at the moment, if then give Sterling 60 to 70 minutes and then stick Nwaneri on there for the remaining 20, that's what I would do. Not bring them on, put Nwaneri there. Say, there you go. Now you fight for your place. Yeah. I mean, it's not what was it Tony Adams always said? You play for the name on the front of the shirt, not the one on the back. And I think you should say, do you know what? You're not playing at all. You've disappointed me, both lads, recently. The kid's going to get it. Sterling's going to come on. He's going to get 2 goals, and then you're going to get Anweri on, and he'll score 2 as well. There you are.
Yeah, Mike.
Yeah,
I know I'm completely wrong, but
no. When we were talking about Martinelli and Trossard, I was going to sort of say, well, look, it's getting to a point where you just have to. It's more of a shame on Sterling's part as well that he can't break into that, and maybe he just needs an opportunity to see what he does. In a game, at home, he's probably going to play, like you said, against Palace. Probably plays 1 year against Palace as well in the cup midweek. But yeah, I think definitely that back four. Definitely play Skelly if he's fit, and put Partey back into midfield. Because Everton are Everton. They're just going to try and make it a bit of a dogfight. They're going to try and dig in, low block, and all that, and then they're pretty dangerous at set pieces as well. So we just got to try and make sure we don't do anything silly and be clinical, get those chances like we did against Monaco, and actually stick them away. And I think we should be all right. But yeah, that's a good lineup. But I think probably going to be more likely seeing Sterling midweek. If not, then it's like literally just cancel the loan. If he's not going to play in any of these 2 games, then just cancel the loan. What's the point? Just cancel it.
I do have to wonder, what is he doing that he can't get picked over Martin? I'm like, you must be shocking because I know there was the stuff about him being late.
Yeah.
And what Arteta's. He's a stickler for timekeeping, which rightfully so. I'm with you. But I'm like, what are you doing in training that you are seen as so bad of an option? And the only thing I can think, Mike, is obviously he's got the stature obsession. He's always had that. But also, I'm like, it's your off the ball. He doesn't trust you enough off the ball. Because again, Martinelli, as much as I can critique Martinelli for going that way, he does help cover quite a bit. I will admit, he does work his arse off and he does that side of things. But Trossard doesn't. So
he just can't do it. I just don't think he can do that anymore, Sterling. I just don't think he did it for a spell, didn't it? For City, obviously.
Well, you have to, otherwise you
a bit younger. Yeah,
you don't play under Guardiola if you don't do that.
Yeah, but I just don't think he's in his legs to do that the stuff on the other side of the ball anymore. And that's why he's picks and choosing certain games and certain minutes, little cameos and stuff. But even like the West Ham, when he came against West Ham, he was poor. He was slashing that stuff. I don't know what it is with the substitutes at the moment coming on, and their heads are not with it at the moment. The attacking ones at least. But yeah, we just got to handle business tomorrow, because I think all the teams in the big teams I've got them down as wins this weekend. So I can't see anyone dropping any points. So we have to make sure we handle business tomorrow.
100%. And just quick on handling business, and I'll go to you first, Mike, and then Neil. Predictions for tomorrow, please, Michael. What's going to happen? Talk to me. Let's end on a high after a bit of slinging some mud at some players.
I'd say 2-0.
Nice.
2-0, and I'll say it's going to be. I think it's going to be down to a corner to open them up. I think it'll be Gabriel again scoring from a set piece.
Good man. And Neil, yourself?
I think I alluded to it. 4-0. Brace from Sterling. Brace from Anweri.
Yeah, brilliant. I'll probably come to you for Euro Millions if that happens. Actually, you'll be wiser than me. I'm going to go for 3-0 again. And I'm gonna say Havertz will tuck. Odegaard will tuck. Havertz will score as well, but I think Odegaard's going to score. But yes, that is that. Thank you very much as always, Michael. If people want to see, hear, or any more, where do they go, please?
If they do, they can follow me, hopefully, at Arsenal Above All. It's on Twitter, on Threads, on obviously on Instagram. But yeah, try and get a show out every week if you can, and have you fine gentlemen on it as well when you can. The Arsenal Rizza and the most dangerous Arsenal fan alive, the Arsenal Jason Bourne. below. He's off the grid now. He's in the kitchen, but he's going to disappear just as soon as he's he's going to smash the sim. We disappear. But no, catch me on Arsenal bubble. So appreciate all the support, especially from you both as well. It's been great, and I hope to have something out this weekend.
I appreciate it. No, you guys saved me again as always. You come in late and save the day. I could get you off the bench and trust you lot. So I've got better options than Arteta, that's for sure. And Neil, you've cooked up a verbal Arsenal storm.
You can't find me.
I was the one that was late. So unless I'll find myself. I'll suspend myself for the next podcast. You guys can do it for me.
I'm at the mercy of you guys who always are so kind to let me come onto your pods, and I'm just forever grateful. So I appreciate that. So I'm happy to come on and try and voice an opinion whenever I can. So appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, and much love everybody in the chat, and love to you too as always. Come on, Arsenal, let's do it.
Thank you.